Hello everyone, my name is Keshia, and welcome to my final story presentation for Data 605 Decision Analytics. In this story, I'll be exploring the global drivers of life expectancy using data from the World Health Organization. This dataset includes almost 3,000 records across 22 different fields spanning from the year 2000 to 2015. It covers health, demographic, and economic indicators from both developed and developing nations. The big question driving this story is, what factors most influence how long people live across different countries? From the start, my goal was to uncover meaningful insights, not just numbers, but patterns that can inform real-world decisions about where to focus health and development efforts. When I first profiled the data, I noticed some early patterns. Countries with higher income composition and education tended to live longer, while those with higher adult and child mortality had shorter life expectancies. That contrast between developed and developing countries became the foundation for my analysis. The goal here is to understand what factors have the strongest influence on global longevity, and how that insight can guide better decisions in healthcare, education, and policy. At this stage, I wanted to understand why some countries have higher life expectancies than others. The world map makes it clear. Darker areas, like Western Europe and parts of Asia, represent countries where people live longer, while lighter areas, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, highlight regions still struggling with lower life expectancy. The scatter plot reinforces that connection between economic strength and longevity. Countries with higher income composition and education consistently show higher lifespans. And if you glance at the bar charts for child and adult mortality, you can see the opposite story. When healthcare access is limited, both survival rates and life expectancy drop sharply. Together, these visuals paint a clear picture. The global gap in life expectancy isn't random. It's rooted in economics, education, and healthcare access. This realization set the stage for my deeper analysis in the next scene. The analysis peaked with a decision tree model using life expectancy as the target variable. This model confirmed what the visual suggested, but with hard evidence. The results were striking. Just 4 variables explained more than 80% of the variance in global life expectancy. Those were income composition of resources, adult mortality, HIV/AIDS prevalence, and child thinness. Income composition stood out as the strongest driver, proving that countries with stronger economies and higher education access consistently showed longer lifespans. Adult mortality had an equally powerful but negative effect. Higher mortality meant shorter lifespans, obviously, but the scale of that difference was dramatic. HIV/AIDS prevalence and child thinness reflected broader health challenges, particularly in developing nations where disease control and childhood nutrition are still major hurdles. The takeaway here is clear. Economic and health access are inseparable when predicting longevity. You can't improve one without the other. From the decision tree and visualizations, the story comes full circle with 4 clear priorities to improve life expectancy worldwide. First, invest in education and income growth, since those build stability and health access. Second, reduce adult mortality by expanding healthcare access and chronic disease prevention. Third, sustain disease control efforts, especially around HIV/AIDS and other infectious diseases. And fourth, improve child nutrition and survival rates, because early life health shapes long-term outcomes. These recommendations align perfectly with what the data shows, that the biggest opportunities to increase life expectancy lie in tackling inequality, access, and prevention head-on. Throughout this course, I learned that analytics isn't just about building dashboards. It's about telling a story that drives action. Using Cognos Analytics, I learned how to explore, visualize, and communicate insights in a way that actually drives decisions. Frameworks like CrispDM gave me structure, but the real impact came from translating that structure into a story that people can understand. My biggest takeaway is that when data tells a clear story, people listen, and that's when real change happens. Thanks for coming along with me on this journey through decision analytics, where we turned complex data into insight and insight into action. Bye.